Hey everyone, it's Mike with It's Pittsfield Tonight. It is Monday, July 14th, and I'm going to jump right into it. So we're going to just continue with the conversation that we've been having, which all is based around Pittsfield Mayor Peter Marchetti's camping ban ordinance proposal, that proposal has triggered a chain reaction of a lot of other events that, in my opinion, many of them are childish and disrupting the community, and I really don't understand it. I think there's a lot of misdirected anger, a lot of confusion. It's a crazy time. So just a quick recap of how it started. So many of you know that Pittsfield Mayor Peter Marchetti put together his camping ban ordinance proposal, which basically says you can't camp in public spaces. And there was a whole bunch of other things attached to that. And there's no sense in getting deep into that because we've talked about that. And those of you that have been following understand that. There's a segment of the population that believed it was criminalizing homelessness, an attack on poor people, the whole deal. Now, I'm going to say this, and I've said this before right from the start. I'm against the camping ban ordinance proposal. I'm against it. And the reason for that is the facts are we do not right now have the facilities to accommodate the amount of people from our point in time count that are unsheltered. We don't have the facilities to put them. And if you don't have the means to put these people into sheltering or supportive housing or transitional housing, whatever it is, if we do not have those programs in place, how can you put an ordinance in place that would effectively just tell them they can't be in the community? And that's why I'm against it. Now, that being said, this is where I see the problem. And I think that's what has triggered this problem. And this is just my opinion, but it is specifically North Street, our downtown area. And not just North Street, some of the streets around it, but North Street in the downtown community. And maybe the problems that we're having are not people in homelessness. Maybe they're other people just causing trouble. I really don't know that. But I can tell you, I spend a lot of time downtown every day. Last year, I was delivering for a company where part of my route was North Street. And I started on, my first stop was up near the upper end near Park Square. And my final stop was A-Mart on North Street. And the things I saw then, and I continue, I'm on North Street every day now. I was up there today walking around. The things you see, it's frustrating to me. I can't imagine the people that operate businesses on North Street every day. And for the life of me, I cannot figure out why we can't have a police foot patrol on North Street. I just don't understand it. So I am going to reach out to Chief Dolly, our Pittsfield Police Chief Tommy Dolly, and see what he says. Because I've heard a lot of different things, basically three different things that I've heard repeatedly. One, we don't have the staff. We don't have the staff to be able to do that. Two, we don't have the funds, and we can't ask for any more for overtime or anything like that. Three, this one seemed crazy to me, and I don't know if any of these are true, but I heard that the union won't allow them to walk up and down the street on foot patrol. That seemed crazy to me when I heard that. That doesn't seem like that could be right, but I have heard that from multiple people. So I want to reach out to the chief myself and see what he says and what he thinks about this. But I can tell you right now, and a lot of people see this, every day when I'm on North Street, I'll see more bicycles going up and down the sidewalks, a lot of them e-bikes going pretty fast, jaywalking, people drinking out in the open in the bus stops and in the parks, people, not in good shape from whatever substances they're taking, passed out on sidewalks in the bushes, people using bushes right off the side of the road on North Street or behind businesses to go to the bathroom, shoplifting, cars banging U-turns in the middle of the road, cars driving down the bike lanes. And all I keep thinking is, ticket, 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 ticket. I don't understand. I don't understand. The only people getting tickets are the people if they don't put enough money in the meter and they're not getting it from the PPD. I just feel like there lies the problem, because when you heard the business owners speak at some of these meetings, nobody was I didn't hear anybody saying, oh, we need to get rid of all these people. We need to attack them, or we need to do this. We need to push them out of the community. How dare poor people be here? The way some of these ridiculous accusations are being thrown around. And at that ordinance and rules meeting, where during the public speaking part, where you had people getting up speaking against the ordinance, basically on one side of the room, they were on the right side of the room, and on the left side of the room, at least from me watching TV, on the left side of the room were business owners who, when the people on the right side of the room that were speaking against the ordinance got up and spoke, they got up and spoke and they did their whole thing. One of the guys there got up and, he basically said, he called some of the business owners fascists, that it was an attack on poverty, it was criminalizing homelessness, we'll sue the city if you push this through. Another individual got up, he wasn't there to address the council at all. He was there, I'm surprised he didn't bring a soapbox with him. He got up there to the podium, turned his back to the dais where the councilors were, and started trying to humiliate, basically, and publicly shame and preach to the business owners, to shame them on public TV. So basically to shame them in front of the community. So unprofessional, so immature, so ridiculous. It was hard to watch. And look, I appreciate people who will get up and speak up and be a voice. It's not an easy thing to do. You can get attacked pretty hard. Trust me. I've taken punch after punch and blow after blow. The things that have been done to me over the years are unbelievable. And I've been in so many fights and wars and battles, dragged into stuff. And when I say dragged in, I'm not going to say I wasn't part of that. My Irish temper side would kick in and I'd jump right in and start swinging back. And when you get sidetracked, you start making it about yourself. And you're not going to solve any problems fighting and name calling. You're not going to get anywhere. And, but I've been called everything you can think of. I've been called a racist. I've been called a Nazi, that one was really funny to me. I've been called a fascist repeatedly, because that's the new trendy one to throw around, is fascist. I was called a libtard. I was called a socialist, a communist. I was called a MAGA extremist. I was called a Trumper. Every angle, polar opposite views. But when people want to convince themselves of something, they convince themselves of that. And they dig in and they get lost in their fight. I don't know what they're doing. But I think for me, that's why it was hard to watch that, because it was the same reaction. And I'm not going to get into this deeply on this part of it, but when I hear the fascism thing being thrown around, it's like, oh, here we go. And I can promise you, these are people, because you see this all over the place, the people that will say fascist and they'll say all these things, and you'll see them put up quotes and stuff like that from the 1930s and 40s. And, it's almost like a fantasy of theirs to go to war or something. It's a bizarre thing. When in reality, does history repeat itself if you're not careful? Yes. It repeats itself in outcome, meaning certain things can lead to bad things. But the specifics of it are never the same, because society evolves. So we're not going to go back to the 1930s and 40s. The whole bringing all that up it's ridiculous when people throw out Nazi and fascist and all that, because the reality is the biggest new challenges coming at humans is AI. AI is changing the world. Soon, jobs like truck drivers, won't need them. I was reading a really good article with one of the big truck manufacturing companies that plans on going full autonomous vehicles by 2031 or 32. That's everything that they will produce from that point forward will be autonomous vehicles. There'll be trucks that are controlled by GPS. They'll be like drones, basically. You won't need truck drivers. AI is replacing bookkeepers, accountants, customer service reps, clerks, all sorts of jobs. Look at even in locally, switching to the trash tote system with automated pickup now. Trucks that used to have 2 to 3 people on them now have 1. They were able to eliminate a whole bunch of their staff. And that is what we're seeing. Those are the biggest challenges. So the new problems coming down the road for humans are going to be new problems. We're not going back to the 1930s or 1940s. I don't know why people do that, but it's really trendy to do that right now. And at that meeting, the mayor was attacked heavily. And of course, the people showboating in the community, looking for their 15 minutes in the spotlight or whatever it is, yelling across the room, lower the rents. That one was just like, come on, man. You think the mayor can just show up and go to walk around or go to call all the landlords and say, hey, I need you to lower the rents. If somebody's charging X amount for rent and someone will pay it, there you go. Do I think there's a massive problem that we're seeing? I think we're seeing the community being gentrified. I think the gap between rich and poor is growing. Well, there's no think, we all know it is, but in this community specifically, and I don't think it's some evil conspiracy. Look, Pittsfield could not get its legs under itself after GE left. It just couldn't. It could not figure out what to do. And some decades went by, and guess what happened? Investors from outside the area started seeing the opportunities here because it's the Berkshires. We're not in the middle of some cornfield out in the middle of the Midwest here. We're centrally located in between New York City, Boston, Hartford, Springfield. It's the Berkshires. It's known throughout the world. The Berkshires, long before GE, long before all that, was a place where some of the elite in the country came. The Vanderbilts, the Rockefellers, the Carnegies, all those families were coming up here. Famous authors and poets and presidents and politicians. This was a very important area. And it went through its industrial era, and we're out of that now, and what's happening is happening. So the housing market here, the apartment rentals, it's insane. When I first came up here, and when I started It's Pittsfield Tonight, I don't want to say when I first came up here, because many of you know me, I was born and raised here. I left for a while and came back, but I was born at BMC, went to the Pittsfield Public Schools, did not finish. I was a product that was ignored by the Pittsfield Public Schools. And like most people that end up getting involved in this type of stuff, community public stuff, and I'm no exception to it, are usually people that came from bad situations, broken homes, things in their life that made them want to get up and be a voice and try to do something. I'm no different. And I've, thought about it long and hard myself. It can't be a coincidence that I had this passion that I was going to do this. And I wanted to make a difference. And when I started, I never thought I'd be attacked the way I did. You realize that comes with the territory. It took me a long time to realize that. Now you can say whatever the hell you want to me. Did it bother me in the past? Multiple times over. And it would bother anybody. And some of the stuff that was done to me was really awful. Somebody took a screwdriver and sliced all my tires on my Jeep once. I had no money I had to borrow money for a tow truck just to get it back to my friend's house so I could put it in his driveway. And it took me another month and a half to get money to be able to get tires on it and get it back on the road. I've been called everything in the book that everyone else has been called. I remember one day And this one really did bother me. There was a lot going on, and I opened my messages, and the first two messages there were two local females, and one of them, very, very attractive girl. I went to their page and saw that they were friends with each other, both the people who sent these separate messages. I saw that they were on both of each other's page. But this one girl, beautiful woman, not that that matters, but she was very attractive woman, very popular. And she sent me a message that said, "Didn't anyone ever tell you you're way too ugly to be sitting in front of that camera? You should have tried out for radio." And then the one right after that was saying, how does your face fit on that nose? And a bunch of stuff like that. And I'll tell you what, at that time, this was about 5 or 6 years ago, it did get to me. I would be lying if I say it didn't. I remember going into the bathroom and looking at my face, and I was like, oh my God, am I really that ugly? And I was looking sideways at my profile, and it just was kicking the crap out of my self-esteem. That stuff, it can be tough when you're down and out. And again, when I started at Pittsfield Tonight, I was homeless. I was just couch surfing between people. I went and looked at apartments then when I came up here 10 years ago and started this, when I came back. And even then, the rents were ridiculous. And when I left Pittsfield the first time, most apartments were, you talk to an owner. And usually they lived like close by or right next door. And they were just like an income property for them. They were just other working class people that had an income property. Now, when I came back, we have companies here that kind of snagged up everything. And I went and looked at some of these rentals, and what they were asking was unbelievable. And the condition of some of these places was disgusting. I wouldn't let my dogs in there. And that was the other thing. I had animals, and they wouldn't let me have them anyway. So that is an issue. That's a whole nother conversation, but that's a real issue with housing. And we're going to get into that in another video because there's problems going on there that stem from this. But going back to what happened with the business owners being attacked. So that camping ban ordinance went from people accusing the mayor of criminalizing homelessness, saying he hated poor people, attacking the business owners, calling them fascists, doing all that. And then from there, it trickled literally into Downtown Pittsfield, Inc., which for those of you that are familiar with Downtown Pittsfield, Inc., it is, or if you're not, it is a local nonprofit that is membership driven, and its purpose is to promote our downtown corridor and boost economic development in the area. So the businesses that are a member of it, they pay money to be a member of it. They're sold on that. Would you like to be a member of Downtown Pittsfield, Inc.? They're recruited into it, and they're told, we're going to promote you, we're going to do this, we're going to do that, and that's what you pay a dues for. And they work as a group to promote the whole downtown, because there's strength in numbers. So the situation people are hearing with someone's being, they're asked to resign from a board or whatever. Look, the board of directors of Downtown Pittsfield, Inc. is there to promote the businesses that pay dues to be a member of it. And if an individual is on that board saying, I would never shop in these places, these people are no good, I don't care if your family's been here since the 1800s, I've done everything to save the community, and I'm this, and I'm that, and I'm being attacked, and that's not what was happening. You start calling people fascist and racist and with their baseless claims, or telling them that they hate poor people. Come on. The reality is, what is happening are problems downtown. That's it. It's that simple. And the things that are happening, we know it. Wasn't there just a stabbing in front of the senior center on North Street a couple nights ago? Weren't there shootings around that area a few nights before that? The problems on North Street day after day after day are unbelievable, and there is no foot patrol there. And I think that is the answer to start dissolving this problem, making sure our downtown district is safe and welcoming to everybody. And it's not welcoming it makes people feel uncomfortable when you got strangers you don't know, especially if you're visiting from the area. Somebody might tell you, oh, why would you be afraid of that guy? He's harmless. If you've never been here before and you have people coming up to you that are all messed up, and I've seen some people really drunk or high on North Street coming up to me, and they weren't aggressive. They've come up to me, hey man, you got any cigarettes? I've been asked that, and then asked for money. And I say, no, I'm sorry, I can't help you. Or if I have a buck or two, I will give it to them. But I say no most of the time because I don't have it. And I get asked every 10 to 20 feet, it seems like. And 99.9% of the time, they just say, okay, and that's it. They just keep walking away. They go about their business. But when you have that everywhere, and then you're walking by and you see people sleeping here, someone nodded out or passed out over there, people openly drinking in the bus stops or in the parking lot at Amart or everywhere. It's, cars banging U-turns in the middle of the road. All those things that I've talked about before that happen on North Street all day, every day. A police foot patrol would be a great solution to that. And you don't have to arrest people. Some things should be cited. If we are investing all this money into bike lanes, there should be tickets issued for riding your bicycles up and down the sidewalk, because these e-bikes go really fast. I know, I have a couple of them. They go really fast. And if you hit a person with one of those, it's not going to come out well. I mean, you hit a person on any bicycle, it's not going to come out well. But if you're doing 28 miles an hour, which is what most of these do, I think they're class 3, and that's what Massachusetts is one of the states. You can go up to 28 miles an hour is what they cap it at, and it doesn't have to be registered or anything like that. But like one of my bikes, it's one of the ones with the big wide tires. It weighs 75 pounds, the bike. I weigh 195 pounds. And if you're doing 28 miles an hour and you hit a pedestrian, you could kill somebody. And so I think there should be, tickets issued for that. First time is a warning. Don't do it. This is your warning. You can't ride your bicycles on the sidewalk. There's bike lanes right there. Use them. Second time should be a penalty, a ticket. Third time should be a bigger ticket. I mean, there has to be enforcement. What good is any rule without enforcement? If there's no enforcement, why have rules? There's no incentive for anyone to follow them. But ultimately, where I would like to see this, what I would like to see happen, I'm sure a lot of people would, is defuse this whole situation and people come to the table and start talking like adults. If that doesn't happen, you're not going to solve anything. And Pittsfield isn't a hateful community. It's one of the most liberal places I've been ever in my life. Are we addressing some of the problems we have? Yes. Our previous mayor took millions from the ARPA funds to invest into shelter programs, transitional housing, and supportive housing programs. There's more coming online. The fact that people get dumped off in this community does not help. And that does happen. For a fact, it happens. I have interviewed people that had the same story about being dropped off here, and people were talking weeks apart from each other, and people that had no connection to each other with the exact same story, that they were told when they were dropped off here that there's going to be all sorts of programs for them, and then they get here and go, what do I do? Where do I go? I've talked to people with that. That's a fact. So when I've heard representatives from ServiceNet at one of those meetings say, no, not that I know of, they're all just local people. That's not true. People are coming in from not just all over the county. They're being brought in from out of the area. That's a fact. I don't know how regularly that happens, but it has happened more than once. But the end of the story is, this has gone way too far with the name calling, and it's brutal stuff. Don't do that to each other. Why would you do that to people? We're not Nazis and fascists here. Stop being ridiculous. This can be solved. People can work together and come together on this. And you can disagree with somebody cordially and civilly and say, no, I'm not going to support that, without, having to put on the theatrics and name calling and, the insanity of which triggered into business owners being threatened and some being vandalized downtown after those meetings. And that is a fact. That did happen. That can't happen. What are you doing? You're ripping the community apart. You're not helping it. You're not helping anyone. You're not standing up for justice or anything. You're making things worse. Calm heads prevail. If you make it about yourself, then that's up to you. If it's turned into a fight that an individual thinks everyone's out to get me, the business owners are evil, downtown Pittsfield Inc. is evil, the mayor is evil, the police are evil, City Hall is evil, this one's evil, that one's evil, they're all out to get me. It doesn't work that way. And that's not what's happening. And these business owners on North Street are not saying the things that they're being accused of saying. They're just saying the stuff that is happening has to stop. I'm losing customers. We're losing money. And, that's money that goes into the tax base so we can have more programs. Only somebody who has no knowledge of how that works would encourage people to go after those businesses so we lose more money, so the situation becomes worse, so we can have more people in homelessness. That's what that's doing. And homelessness, and I'll end this with this, has become, for many, it's a career, okay? It's become big money, big business. Don't think every nonprofit or anything, they're not just all volunteers. Don't even think that. You take an organization like ServiceNet that has a budget right now of over $100 million a year with a staff of almost 2,000 people. They have pensions, retirement packages, benefits. You look at where that money goes. Look at some of the salaries, $100,000, $200,000, $300,000. There's big salaries involved there. Look at it, maybe even a local nonprofit, which has a board of directors, in a community where you have a median household income between the low 60s up to, I think, 66,000. It's somewhere in there. I've seen different information on that. But I think we're somewhere between $62,000 and $66,000 a year is the median household income. Household. How much do you think say a nonprofit that maybe has a husband and wife run it? Do you think they possibly make more than that? Maybe $20,000 or $30,000 a year more than the median income? I don't know. You have to look and ask. So, not everyone is just volunteering. It's, if you're pulling a paycheck on it, it's a business for you. You're making money on homelessness. You're making money on those situations. Listen, and I'm not saying people shouldn't get paid to work at all. But stop pointing the finger at everybody else and screaming fascist, Nazi, this, that, all those things, when couldn't be farther from the truth. And, people, like I said, need to be looking at the real problems down the road, which is going to be AI. And that's taking jobs away and adding to this at a crazy rate. And then, of course, what we're seeing in the community, which I totally believe we're in like the second phase of this area being gentrified. And soon, the Berkshires, including Pittsfield, and I've said this for years, you can go back and look at the videos, the airport I've always believed is key to this. Because of how short of a flight it is to Manhattan. You can leave the Pittsfield airport and I think 20 minutes or under, you're in New York City. This is an appealing place. $500,000 won't buy you much in New York City. It'll get you a lot here. And we're seeing it happen. This will be a summer second homes and senior living. And it's sad because I feel like the younger generation, the 35s and under, are already priced out of the housing market here. They're already priced out of it. And they're almost priced out of the rental market. But it's a whole other conversation. So I'm going to end it there. I've mumbled a lot on this. I'm pouring sweat from the humidity. It's crazy hot in here. And I have to shut the air off when I do these videos in this studio because it's so noisy. But, man, everyone, just calm down. Try to have calm heads and see if we can pull this back and people can say, all right, maybe we got a little carried away here. Maybe we can sit down and figure this out. Let's get some real politics going here when I say that, because a good politician can go into a room with 100 people that maybe in thirds. You have 3 different opinions in that room, 3 different things that people are asking for, and a good politician can come back out of that room cutting a deal and negotiating to where everyone is okay with the result. And it can't be the social ideology and the social activists trying to get into local politics. That's not the place for it. That's not the place for it. You're here to represent your constituents and to fairly represent everyone on basic city issues: housing, roads, water and sewer, taxes, schools, and there's a ton of conversation around those issues. So that's it. Keep calm. Try to communicate with each other. To the people that are involved in all this, man, I wish you could just stop with the nonsense, because it won't work out to your benefit. It won't for anybody. Fighting gets you nowhere. And I can tell you from experience, if someone calls you a name, it does suck, okay? I got sucked into that stuff myself. I got roped into fights. And when I say rope, I'll take full responsibility or equal responsibility to the people doing it. Nobody forced me to participate in those arguments. My Irish temper side did. But you gotta, if you want to be a public voice, you gotta stay calm and you gotta just shrug that stuff off. You gotta let it roll off and not take it personal. And that's that. All right, so everyone, stay cool, stay hydrated. There's supposed to be thunderstorms coming. Take care of yourselves, take care of each other, and I'll catch y'all in the next day or two.